If I were to describe the Odyssey in one word, it would be epic. I mean, grand works and monumental works, but I want to use the word epic. I, for one, am not too familiar with the source material. Homer's, I think it's Homer's, the Odyssey. So I can't say if they paid homage to the source material at all. I can say I've got like 80 plus hours on Assassin's Creed Odyssey. I like that game, and I like Greek mythology. That's all I bring to the table when it comes to this whole movie set in ancient Greece. I'm saying my knowledge was very limited when it comes to this movie. Going into it, I was also going in blind because I haven't seen any of the trailers or interviews. I've seen some posters, but I've tried my best to avoid that because I wanted to experience this blind going in. Of course, there was some things I knew, like it's set in Greece, in ancient Greece, and the characters are Greek. I also knew some other things, like who were starring in it, being Matt Damon, Tom Holland, Anne Hathaway, and John Bernthal. And I was keen to see this movie because I've seen Christopher Nolan's other movies. One that I very much like. It's my favorite movie. I've seen it so many times, like 8 times, I think. But The Dark Knight with Heath Ledger as a Joker, I love that movie so much. So I know of his work, and I know of his opting to avoid CGI and use practical effects. Like he loves going practical with it. The old way of cinema. I don't know if any CGI was used in this movie. I'm assuming most of it was practical, knowing this guy, but I wouldn't know. So I would say this, the visuals of this movie, I think, were just, some were breathtaking, some were stunning, but they were all brilliant. I thought it was done pretty well. Now, I'm gonna go into spoilers, but before I do, I really recommend this movie to watch in cinemas if you can. I don't know about the IMAX experience because I watched it in VMAX. IMAX is not an option in Queensland itself. There's only one IMAX theater, and that's in Pacific Fair Gold Coast. But according to Reddit users and all that, it's argued if it's truly IMAX, something to do with like the size of the screen. Like it's got the sound, the brightness, the color, and everything. It's just something to do with the size, like aspect ratio. I don't know. I'm not part of that conversation because I did consider it, but then I was all like, I'm not driving an hour plus the distance because I usually prefer to watch it late at night when there's less people. But it's a really good movie, and from my experience, I had a great time watching it in VMAX. I don't know about the others, so I can't say about the other experience. I have heard 4DX is pretty intense. Of course, however you watch it, even if it's intended to be watching IMAX, yeah, it's your choice. I'm not your dad. You watch it however you want, or even if you do want to watch it. I've noticed this, not a trend, but like, I'm not a writer or anything, so I noticed this thing that I just happened to pick up on. Maybe I'm just really slow, but most like TV shows, movies, that kind of thing, there's an A story and a B story. Wow, groundbreaking stuff, right? And then, towards the end, the two stories sort of coincide and then mash together. If it's done well. The dominant story in this is, of course, Odysseus trying to get home. The other is Telemachus, he's his son. I think I said that right. I definitely butchered that. Well, he's searching for clues to where his father is so he can, bring peace and order to his home back in Ithaca. And, through Telemachus and him visiting the king of Sparta, we see the situation of what happened in the Battle of Troy. And with Odysseus, when he's talking to Calypso, regathering his memories, it's him focusing on what happened after Troy, his Odyssey back home. That was an oversimplification. Like, the entirety of the movie itself, as I said earlier, I believe it to be just brilliant, really grand, monumental, but in my words, epic. The performances I like. Matt Damon, my goodness, like, I already like the guy. Like, he seems pretty cool, but his physicality in the final sequence, my goodness, like, so good. And speaking of Matt Damon, there are a lot of other big names, as I stated earlier, like Tom Holland, Anne Hathaway, John Bernthal. But what I liked with this was the star power, the big names. They didn't really take away from the quality of the movie itself, which I really appreciate. Part of me did think that this could have been the direction they go through, where they just use star power to like boost the movie's quality. But no. The movie's quality itself speaks for itself. King Agamemnon, he's on screen for like 5 minutes. He's barely present in the movie, yet he is one of the most memorable pieces of the film. When he stepped onto the screen, he just took center stage spotlight. Like, his presence was all you could feel. Like, there could be so much happening and he's just there and you can't focus on it. Everything's like blurry around him. I'm not sure if that actually happened, but that's how I felt when I was watching him on screen. Especially when they open the gate, he walks in like a huge chud and everyone's focus is on him. He looks amazing as well. Like, I even like Odysseus' crew. And some of them I recognized, but they weren't as prominent as, Matt Damon or Spider-Man. But I felt pretty attached to them. And that would be due to their performance, not to who the actors were, their names, their past works, and all that, and their acolytes. So when they ate the sun god's cattle, I just felt bad. I know, seeing what they did to Troy, using the trick of using Zeus's law, you could say they kind of deserve it, but I still felt bad that this happened to them. The story itself, pretty simple to follow along, pretty simple to digest as well, but there's a lot of vitamins and minerals you can get from it. Odysseus, he's just trying to go back home. Telemachus is just trying to find his dad to fix the situation back home. On paper, it seems pretty easy on how you can mishmash and make it work together. Unfortunately for Odysseus, he's kind of guilt-ridden, like when he's reminded of the memories. It's like part of the reason why he isn't like against eating the lotus. It feels good. It makes him lose his memories, and part of that is because he wants to. He's so guilt-ridden over breaking Zeus's law, abusing these people's kindness. It's gotta be a war crime. I haven't read the Geneva Convention, but if not a war crime, common sense, you send a peace offering filled with assassins. That's like giving a birthday gift, and inside is a poison gas canister. Like, what are we doing? Not to mention, first island they set upon, they pissed off one of the major gods. You shouldn't piss off if you're planning to sail back home. Because of that, he kind of pissed off two gods, because there's also Zeus, because he abused Zeus's law. So the oceans, the winds, the skies, I don't think there was ever calm amongst the sea. There was amongst the sirens, but there was the sirens being the threat. But it was constant storms, rough seas, winds against them. And speaking of, breaking Zeus's law, I like how the trials, like every isle, there's some kind of trial, sort of reflecting terrible things they did back in Troy. This is my interpretation. Take the giants in the silver armor, the giants clad in silver. I'll just call them silver giants. That's way easier. I don't know what they're actually called. I don't think they ever said what they're called. But the giants, they kind of they didn't invite them into their home. They weren't being hospitable to to Odysseus and his men. And it cost him 2/3 of his men. Like, my goodness, it was such a one-sided fight. I think 2 ships worth of men got killed. And I think Odysseus was shot down like one of them. Just one. That's it. They expected Zeus's law to be applied here, but they didn't do that back in Troy. So, they felt that firsthand. I like how that, made it more personal and like a teaching moment to the men, but at the same time, like a cruel joke. There was Circe. Also, that was crazy to me. They sailed around the island. I would have just left. I don't know why Odysseus was so eager to sail or just investigate the island, but alright, I guess we're investigating the island, and they meet Circe the witch. And yes, the men didn't steal from her, but when we see them like scarf down her stew, I think it was supposed to like reflect the situation of how they didn't really care about, I think it's supposed to reflect like how they didn't care about the reason towards invading Troy. They just followed orders, even if that meant destroying, pillaging, ruining all of these people's lives. Just taking and taking in Troy with no regards for the civilians and all that. Thanks to the ingenuity of Odysseus, he convinces the witch to turn his men back to normal and get some directions to go back home. And she literally tells him, "You are lost, bro. Go to the underworld. Go to Hades, and find this prophet. I remember his name. It was like Dionysius or something. The prophet. Go find the prophet in the underworld." That whole scene with communing with the dead was just so awesome. Just like the soldiers just rising out of the black sand, and they're coming in like swarms surrounding them. They can't talk unless they drink the blood. And then you have Sinon and Agamemnon, and how they just, when they finish conversing with Odysseus, they just slide back into it like an actual ghost. Oh no, like a shade. I know that because I've platinumed Hades. I love that game. I happen to be very good. I know a bit about Greek mythology. Okay, I was like, where's Zagreus and all this? He's somewhere down in there fighting fighting Hades himself. Sorry, I'll get back to Odyssey. Prophecy is the prophet. Pretty much to sum up his prophecy is, Odysseus, you're gonna live. They're gonna die, and I gotta be honest with you, bro. There's nothing you can do about it. You can try, but there's nothing you can do about it. And yeah, the prophecy comes to fruition, and at the end, Odysseus is stuck on some island with this god-like being. I don't know. It's a magical creature, Calypso. I remember she was in Pirates of the Caribbean. I don't know much else, apart from she helped him, regathered his strength and all that, fed him the lotus flowers, which is a dog move, but she fell in love with him, and she thought this is the right thing to do. It only took her 7 years to let him go. Only took him 7 years. We also see this appearance of this woman, Athena, throughout the movie. We know that only Odysseus can see her or even interact with her. Now, my friend and I actually argued about this, like, when we're just waiting. When we finished the movie, we just got to the car and we just sort of just like hanging around, just talking about it. Throughout the movie, Zeus's law is about, giving hospitality to your guests and your guests giving respect to their host. Also, maybe because that possible guest could be a god in disguise, because it was like believed that it could be gods walking amongst us. His interpretation of Athena was she took the form of the girl that Odysseus witnessed killed, the innocent girl Odysseus witnessed killed in front of him, as a way to haunt him, but then she eventually warmed up to him and offered him advice and clarity and all that. I thought it was actually Athena that they killed, but they can't kill her because she's a god. That was just some form she used to walk around amongst humans. As Zeus's law states, could be gods walking amongst us. And then she dies, and then she haunts Odysseus, but then eventually warms up and offers advice and clarity. It works both the same ways. I just like my version more because it comes back to the Zeus's law thing, how gods could be walking amongst us. But it doesn't matter too much because both ways work. It's a simple story. There's a lot to take away from it. It's not a comedy, but I found it funny when the soldiers eat the cattle. Like, I found it both funny and sad. Like, I had the exact same reaction as Odysseus when he saw the men eat the sun god's cattle. Like, he just sees that, he's disappointed, he just walks away. He's like, I know what's about to happen, and this is not my fault. I really tried. And he did. He really tried his best. He looked so done. Maybe because deep down he knew what was about to happen. Even if they promised not to eat it, just them landing at that isle just gave them the option of handing them their own death. There's some things I didn't even talk about, like the Cyclops. I love the appearance of the Cyclops. Tall, menacing, unsettling, and that eye was just creepy. But there is one question, Mr. Nolan. Did it have to be that loud? Like, my goodness. I could tell I was not the only one who felt this. because during the cinema, and this is with Dolby Atmos, by the way, excellent sound system. I think the best sound system cinema offers. And then it was just so ear graining. I was just like, ah! And I'm looking to my left. My friend is there. He's doing the same thing, just going like, ah! And everyone else in the cinema was pretty much doing the same thing. Just like, it was actually ear piercing noise. It kind of hurt. It was kind of awesome at the same time. But I wish I wasn't like in pain listening to it. Yeah, was it unsettling? Yeah, I think that was the goal, but did it have to hurt to achieve that goal? The other monster designs were the silver giants in the forest, and also something else that was pretty cool was the actual forest shape-shifting, moving. Not shape-shifting, it was like shifting itself, moving, multiplying the trees and all that. The witch reshaping the sword, that was horrific. My goodness. I knew everyone else was like horrified by what they're watching because I'm looking to the right. I'm like, ah, and then everyone else is just like, oh my goodness. Oh, it was actually horrifying to watch that. It's just show don't tell. That's a big thing. I got that just hammered into me in school, and I absolutely love that whole Cersei and the witch kind of scene where we see a lot of these big cats outside, but they're not attacking. You know why? Because they were probably human once. And they don't need to tell us that. We can just figure that out. Now, the actual thing that made me jump out of my seat, I'm not proud of it, but while Agamemnon were getting, down and dirty, he does that whole scream thing, like, ah! That actually got me. I was like, whoa, what? I was so disappointed that I got scared by that. That actually feels so unfair, because it came out of nowhere. And I'm just gonna lie, If anyone asks me what scared me the most in that movie, I'm just gonna lie. I'm gonna say the Cyclops or Cersei the Witch. My favorite scene or sequence is like, it's not a scene. Just that last like half hour, I think it was, just when Odysseus finally arrives back on Ithaca. That's like my favorite part of the movie. It's such a rush, I'm like jittering in my seat. It's like that scene in Shrek. Was it Shrek 4? Where the guy wants Shrek to sign a contract and you just go, oh, sign it. That's what I was feeling. I was like, come on, Odysseus. Come on, Odysseus. Come on, just mess up everyone. Just mess him up. I know you're about to go crazy. And oh boy, he did. I've never done drugs. I don't know what it's like to actually be on drugs. But that must be what it felt like. Like, what a rush in when he was slaughtering the other suitors. The build-up to it was amazing as well, because payoff is just cattywampus. I was just itching for Odysseus to just pull up and say, yo, I'm back. But no, Mr. Nolan had to make me crave for it. That was a smart decision, no? It made you, and again, like I said, it really paid off. It's like a delicious itch. I don't know. I don't remember the rest of the quote. You know it if you've seen it. But I knew it was about to go down. Probably a lot of people knew it was about to go down. If this is faithful or does the original source material justice. Again, I don't know. But I will say this: that whole waiting for Odysseus to reveal himself. What a payoff. Really a one-man army. It's like King Boomy taking back his city from the Fire Nation and during the solar eclipse. Like, absolutely epic. Everyone was powerless. Everyone was completely outclassed by Odysseus. What a spectacle. We also see like Antinous' true colors like be revealed. We see the small, weak, insecure boy. And I love Robert Pattinson. And I like that I hated him in this movie because he's done a fantastic job if that was his intention. Because it's very difficult for me to dislike Robert Pattinson. He's a pretty cool guy in my book. He's Batman. That recent film, not recent, it was last year, but Mickey 17, I really liked that movie. That whole just ending sequence was just brilliant to me. There's a lot to pick apart in this movie. I don't even talk too much about Sinon. And man, he almost gets no screen time, but his presence throughout the movie, it's always there. It's large, and he's barely on screen. When Odysseus delivers that stick from Sinon, as requested by Sinon, you just see the fear and the shame just like wash over Antonius's face, and the whole like redemption, like where Odysseus will go after the movie. First, he needs to pay respect to the ones he couldn't bury. That was tasked to him by Sinon. It's so good, man. I kind of want to watch it again. That's how much I liked it. I popped on too long onto this movie, and I barely scratched the surface. As I stated before, I'm a bit of a sucker for Christopher Nolan. I've watched The Dark Knight like 8 times. It's like my favorite movie. So yeah, I got a soft spot for the guy. And that's why I didn't see any promotion for the materials or anything of like that. Except for like some posters that just came across. That's me, but I know the guy. I don't know the guy, but I know about his opting to use practical effects over CGI. And this film here is nothing short of like a spectacle, like to the eyes, to the brain. It's really good. I liked it a lot. I thought it was done fantastically, and it's like reignited my interest back into Greek mythology. Yeah, that's pretty much all that I can rack up. Ugh. Rack up in my head. Thanks for watching. Stay safe and have a good one. Okay, son, all you have to do is make sure none of these guys get any weapons. But Dad, that might mean I have to kill someone. That's fine. At most, it'll be like 1 or 2 dudes. Everyone's focus will be on me. Dad, I've never actually fought anyone to the death. Oh my goodness. I feel like I'm doing the heavy lifting here. Have a little sympathy. If I die, and it's not a big if they manage to get the weapons, then you are also dead. Okay, Dad. I'll try my best. Try my best. Telemachus. Our chances of survival significantly went down.